Hey everybody, glad you're back. Hope you're enjoying the Microgreens mini-series. We're gonna hop right in today. Our seeds have been sanitizing for about 10 minutes now. Now what we're gonna do is go to the sink. When you get good at this and you're doing multiples, you'll have to come up with a system that actually works for you. But right now, this is the best way to start. Okay, you can actually save this water and use it for other things. But like I said, just do it in your sink, pour it out. Don't worry about the waste quite yet. Okay, so we're going to turn our cold water on. And the reason we're doing that is because this is still really caustic. It still has a lot of hydrogen peroxide and it will burn you. This isn't only dirt and grime from the seeds, but this is actual seed sediment coming off of the seeds, breaking off because of the caustic action. You can actually hear this from the hydrogen peroxide. You hear that kind of pop? So that'll pop. And like I said before, you want to immediately rinse everything you've got. Rinse, rinse, rinse. And what I do is I just fill this to the top here. I'm going to fill that to the top. That kind of dilutes that a little bit. I'm going to take my strainer, right side up, put the bottom on the mason jar there, and just give it a pour. And you kind of drop that back down, and then you're going to run the bottom here. You're just going to run that like that, scraping any seeds that are sitting on the bottom of this. And I would do that 3 or 4 times. I wouldn't worry too much, like I said, about wasting water in your experimental stage. You have to figure out how to do this correctly before you start doing the, figuring out how to conserve water and things like that. Also, after about the second rinse here, you're not going to have any really hydrogen peroxide or vinegar in there anymore. So you don't have to worry about rinsing it too much. I do 3 or 4 times. So do that one more time. So we'll do that one more time. Then we're just going to take this mason jar and we're going to fill it all the way to the top. And we're going to let that soak for 8 hours, no more than 12. You really don't want it to go more than 12, otherwise they're going to sprout too quickly and it's going to screw up your growing cycle. So give that a shake. And every once in a while, you'll end up with a seed on the side or something like that. Don't worry about it too much. As long as, see, you got them on the top, everywhere. As long as you're just shaking this periodically through that 8-hour cycle, I wouldn't worry about it too much. So we'll let those sit for about 8 hours. Like I said, 8 hours, no more than 12. And we'll let that sit there. I try to keep it out of the sunlight. That helps a little bit too. Alright, so we've let this sit in the sink. It's draining. We don't have a bunch of water coming out of the bottom or anything like that. Now, what we do, we've got our 2 flats. We've got our sunshine mix number 4. We take a flat or 2 of them. We're going to go on top of our soil here. And we're just going to push. And we're going to flatten this out. Now, a lot of people don't know why you do this. The best answer that I've been able to find is that it creates a flat surface so that you don't get a bunch of seeds in one corner or another. And that way you can evenly distribute the seeds. So, after your seeds are done soaking, this is all wet. Now we're going to go ahead and plant. We've let this soak for 8 hours here, and we're ready to go. So we pop the top here, and what I always like to do, don't worry if you get some seeds on the can there. What I always like to do is rinse everything I'm doing. Rinse it, set it out to dry for later use. Okay, and this time we're going to take this strainer and we're just going to pour right over top. Any remaining seeds in the jar, we'll just fill this mason jar up and we'll pour it right over top of the seeds. We'll make sure there's nothing left in the jar. We're good in that jar there. Alright, we're going to rinse, 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 rinse. Doesn't matter too much. It's pretty much rinsed from us soaking it, so we should be good. We're just trying to get that extra sediment out of there. That should be good. We're going to take this directly over to our soil that's completely drained, and we'll plant. People kind of worry about how much seed should go in each place. When you get into higher levels, you know, I'm talking industrial production of microgreens, I would worry about that type of thing. But with these sunflowers, I don't worry about it at all. I just pour it in, make sure I get every seed out, and then we're going to kind of just spread it out by hand. I'm not too concerned. As long as you don't have big piles of seeds everywhere, you should be golden. So we're just going to spread this out, make sure there's not any, you know, little divots that don't have seeds in them, and just make sure that they're as evenly spread out as possible. Now we're going to take our extra flats that we used to flatten this, we'll put it on top, and we're going to add some weight. Now if you're doing multiple flats at a time, you would have your flats stacked on top of each other. So we're going to add some weight. I just like to add some cans. One of my favorite things to add on top is old algebra books that I have. And there you go, voila. We're going to leave these weights on here for 3 days. It's really important that you pull it off in 3 days, and I'll show you guys why. Hope you guys enjoyed that video. Keep tuned for the next set in the series of the microgreens. Hit me with that YouTube mumbo jumbo. Rate, comment, subscribe. Thank you so much, and we'll talk to you next time.